I love happily ever afters, and that's one of the reasons why I started writing romance, even though my background is film. I started out screenwriting, so for me, I've always written love stories, and romance just happens to be the perfect mix where, you know, you could tell a good story as well as provide a great setting and kind of environment, and people read it and they're happy, and that makes me happy.
I also love the happily ever after. I love going to work every day, that 10 feet that I have to walk to my desk, and not knowing exactly what I'm going to do that day, exactly where my characters are going to be. It's kind of like when I was a kid and I had a dollhouse and I could make my dolls do all sorts of things. And I love that I married my own romance hero, so I get to write what I'm very lucky to live.
I kind of backed into writing romance. I was a huge, voracious reader most of my life. I am. And I work as a nurse. I'm a registered nurse by trade, but romance is a great place to escape to. And I just loved it so much. And I've always been a writer. Just one day I realized I was writing romance. So.
Well, I guess I'd say I just enjoy taking two characters and seeing just how much I can torture them before giving them their happily ever after.
I actually do. I actually thrive on the research because for me, it's so important to get everything as correct as possible, hopefully 100%. But, you know, of course, we have to take liberties sometimes in the books. But for me, every country that I haven't been to, I make sure that I live it and know it as well as any native, so that when I'm writing the book and they're reading it, they really think that I've been to those countries. Like, I've never been to Japan. Well, I kind of stopped over in Japan, but I've never been to Japan. I've never been to Korea. But if you read the books, I've had people who lived in those countries read the books and say, I know exactly what you're talking about, where you're talking about, and they get really excited. And they said, are you sure you haven't been to Japan? And I'm like, no, I haven't. But that's, for me, it's one of the things about being a writer that is so fun is because you're being whisked away and you're learning things that you'll never learn. And you kind of just immerse yourself and it becomes part of you, so it becomes part of the book.
I love the research part of writing. I've taken classes. I've done all kinds of things to immerse myself in the research. For me, it's one of my very favorite things to do is to learn all that. It's you know, I don't know. I think it's one of the best parts is to learn all these new things and to branch out and you know, just get to be a smarter person.
And I'm going to break the mold because I hate it. I mean, I love history and I love learning cool new things, and it's not that, but I'm not a researcher. I'm a storyteller, and I'm more interested in the character. Of course, you want it to be as close to perfect as you can get it. You want to take readers away. But to me, it's all about the characters and writing their story. And of course, you have to know enough not to park a Buick in the 1800s, but you know, I do research. It's a discipline, but it's not my favorite part of writing. So.
Okay. I will say I do like the research. That said, I pray to God the NSA never checks my Google search because I have a pretty high body count in my first book, and they might come looking for me.
It's much easier, definitely these days, when you have the internet at your disposal. I can't imagine just how difficult research was years ago when, you know, research was just much, much harder when everything wasn't at your fingertips. I find sometimes I do get stuck in a story, and I usually have several projects going at once, and I have to force myself to work on something else. And after I work on something else, then I can come back to where I was stuck. But it happens to me all the time. I get stuck all the time, which is why I have, you know, 2 or 3 projects going at one time.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I will write myself into a corner, and I have to really step back from it for a day or two, or even a week or two sometimes. And usually it does work itself out. When I go back to it, you're like, oh yeah, that's what I was missing. And usually that's because I don't listen to my characters, because I want it to go one way, and they're like, no, this is the way we're going. So.
I typically don't write in order. I don't write in sequential order. So if I get stuck on one scene, I'll usually bounce to another one and work on that one until I've either finished that scene or I've figured out what I need to do to fix the other scene that I got stuck on. And then I just progress from there.